Hello and welcome to Realty Buzz. This is Mansi Dave and I again bring to you a thoughtful set of latest happenings in the most vital and talked about sector of the economy, the real estate sector. The first news of the Reckoner says Quicker is all set to hire 500 people for real estate business over next 1 year. And the news is they are looking to hire people to strengthen the sales team for their realty business. So the ones looking out for a job, here's something interesting for you. Classifieds portal Quicker will hire 500 people over the next 1 year for its newly created real estate domain, quickerhomes.com. The portal launched a separate domain, quickerhomes.com, a few weeks back on the back of doubling of real estate listings on the parent site over the last 1 year. A separate app for quickerhomes.com is also in the works. The portal has listings for apartment rentals, for sale of apartments, and for land sale. Going forward, the portal will focus more on selling apartments. The sales team will especially work with real estate developers who also want some branding on quickerhomes.com when they list their inventory. The realty team can be quickly scaled up as funds would not be a constraint. The portal raised $150 million, which is about Rs 900 crore, in a financing round held in April this year. The funding round was led by its existing investors Tiger Global and AB Kinnevik. Hong Kong-based Steadview Capital also participated in the funding. The traffic and listing have further gone up since the portal launched the separate domain for the real estate sector. Well, there are about 2 to 3 million live real estate listings on the website. Real estate accounts for about half of all transactions in value terms on the portal. Coming on to the next story, it is an innovation in the boat of smart cities. And this time it says smart cities will be implemented through a special purpose vehicle at city level. Each SPV will be headed by a CEO and will have nominees of central government, state government, and urban local bodies on its board. The implementation of the smart city mission at the city level will be done by a special purpose vehicle created for the purpose. This SPV will plan, appraise, approve, release funds, implement, operate, and evaluate the smart city development projects. The government came out with these modalities at the launch of the Smart Cities program along with 2 other schemes for cities and towns. Each SPV will be headed by a CEO and will have nominees of central government, state government, and urban local bodies on its board. The SPV will be limited company incorporated under the Companies Act 2013 at the city level, in which the state or union territory and the urban local bodies will be promoting having 50-50 equity shareholding pattern. The private sector or financial institutions could be considered for taking equity stake in the SPV. Funds provided by the central government under the scheme Smart Cities Mission to the SPV will be in the form of tied grant and kept in the separate grant fund, the government said. The state government and the ULB will determine the paid-up capital requirements of the SPV commensurate with the size of the project, commercial financing required, and the financing modalities. The mission will be monitored at the national level by an apex committee comprising of representatives of Ministry of Urban Development and related ministries. The committee, to be headed by Secretary of MOUD, will approve the proposals for Smart City Mission, monitor their progress and release funds. The central government will give Rs 48,000 crore over the next 5 years on the average Rs 100 crore per city per year, as financial report says. Innovative financing options like tax incremental financing, municipal bonds, and leveraging of loans from bilateral and multilateral agencies like ADB and World Bank is also envisaged. Here we take a quick break. You don't go anywhere as it's a very important segment which is awaited on the other side of the break, so stay tuned. For developers, low-cost housing doesn't fetch more than 15 to 18% margins. The sector is so time-sensitive. Welcome back after the break. Coming on to the most important aspect of government's most talked issue. Here we explain you how can the Smart City initiative deliver efficiently. Here we have the ideas of eminent personalities who explain their thought process in this case. So let's take a look. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched his government's long-planned Smart City mission and Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation in a bid to push its urban renewal initiative. The central plans to create 2 crore houses by 2022 by providing a central grant of Rs 1 lakh to Rs 2.3 lakh per house by way of a 6.5% interest subvention scheme. Can it deliver? Here's what realty experts have to say about it. Mr. Ramesh Nair, COO and International Director JLL India says, What we need to keep in mind is that less than 5% of population earn more than 2 lakh per annum in terms of household, and less than 1% of the entire household in country earns more than 5 lakh per annum. But they are not factored by the large developers. The government believes it can draw developers with the interest subvention scheme. Suppose a low-income person earns rupees 10,000, he will have to shell out an EMI of 35% of what he earns, which is rupees 3,500 as EMI for the home that costs rupees 4 to 5 lakh. Building homes at such cost can be a hassle for developers even if you factor in the subvention. Nair's mantras for the plan to deliver is to incentivize developers keen on affordable housing, give a huge push for infrastructure in suburban peripheral areas, single window clearance for developers. Talking about Mr. Sujay Kalele, CEO, Holte Patil Developers, he says, thinking about infrastructure, sanitation is a good step, and it is heartening to see that the government is acknowledging the role of big developers as it pushes for urban growth. But having said that, there is plenty that needs to be done to get this rolling. For developers, low-cost housing doesn't fetch more than 15 to 18% margins. The sector is so time-sensitive. Suppose an environmental clearance for the scheme gets stretched, you lose that margin. The government has to streamline the process of approvals and clearance so that developers can join the fold without being worried about such hassles. His mantras for the plan to deliver: with regards to approval, reform the approval process in such a way that they get reduced. Developers are able to procure them faster. This will help in execution of the government's plan faster. What is ailing the sector and keeps developers away from diving it in the time and cost is getting 50 to 60 approvals. Cut that and see the effect. Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani, co-founder and MD of Hiranandani Group, says, interest subvention is not the only thing important. There is service tax problem. We need to remove inequalities in the form of taxes like the service tax. While the launches are commendable and will boost a focused growth, the government needs to unplug such teething issues to make it happen on time. The approval process is horrendous and the needs is to be improved. He says, I think India is doing a China in infrastructure by going for selected areas. The GDP growth in the country in the last 30 years is focused on where congestion is here. The Prime Minister is hoping he can kickstart GDP with this. Hiranandani's mantra for the plan to deliver says, get the approvals in place, speed up land buying and approvals, get a fix on taxes, reduce the impact if you need to. Mrityunjay Singh, Executive Director and CEO, Persistent Systems, says, putting all of this together on the platform will be the real game changer. The government is on the right track. It just now needs to bring all of this in the integrated fashion to change the urban landscape. A large number of developers are over-leveraged. They have to get into the market for selling, but once everything is rationalized in terms of taxes and approvals and integrated, it will work. The land bank is waiting for the policy change, and that needs to happen. Once that happens, we will see a paradigm shift for affordable housing in the country. Singh's mantra for the plan to deliver: create a platform to bring all of these services together. Digitize it, because that will take away the discretionary power of the people. Secure it. A connected grid that brings together all establishments, improves execution and accountability. Jayajit Bhattacharya, Partner Infrastructure and Government Services, KPMG, says, the process of building this urban infrastructure would lead to an explosive growth in the economy, as the execution of the vision would entail large-scale consumption of cement, metals, plastic, materials and services. It would also lead to innovations and creation of spin-off technologies that would surely make India a global player in building future cities. So these are a few expert tips on how to make the dream of smart cities come true. That is all for this episode of Realty Buzz. We will be back with more on this. Till then, keep watching Spin TV. Goodbye and take care.